I drink at least a bottle of wine every single day for 15 years. Now, I do enjoy drinking socially, but I have no trouble stopping after a few drinks. So here's 5 science-based strategies that you can use to stop yourself from overdrinking. And if you are interested in more content like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you're in the habit of overdoing it and you're starting to doubt in your own ability to control yourself, this video is going to give you some powerful tools to help you rebuild your confidence in your ability to trust yourself. I'm Colleen, and I'm a mindful drinking coach, and I help high-achieving professional women cut their drinking by about 80% using my emotional sobriety method. And I'll be honest with you before we even start, my approach is not for everybody. For some people, it is easier to just avoid alcohol altogether. But if you're a strong-willed professional woman who has tons of confidence and willpower in other areas of your life, and the way you drink is just out of alignment with your values and your integrity, then it's likely due to the fact that your brain has started associating alcohol with stress relief. And when drinking seems to actually help you cope with your busy, overbooked schedule, it makes a lot of sense that the more stress you feel, the more alcohol you crave. But the truth is that your drinking habits are just habits, which means they can be learned and unlearned. If you're the type of woman who holds herself accountable, then you can probably admit that you've trained your brain to think of alcohol as a reward, as a way to relax. And you're also probably smart enough to realize that the negative side effects of too much stress and too much alcohol are starting to bite you in the ass. You've hit the law of diminishing returns. It's just not worth it, which means there's hope. But you need to realize that you cannot break any habit overnight. Habits live in your body, in your subconscious. They are your autopilot. They're just what you do. You don't have to try or pay attention. Habits are designed to take over when you're feeling stressed or distracted and emotional, so you can focus on your other problems, which is why the first and foremost step you need to take is to commit to being kind and compassionate with yourself and change the story you're telling yourself about what's really going on. There is nothing wrong with you or your brain. Over drinking doesn't mean anything about you. And as you're always learning from what works and what doesn't work, and what you like and what you don't like, your brain is always changing, which means no habit is permanent. Over drinking is just a sign that you're operating on a deficit. You're using alcohol to compensate for needs that you have that aren't being met. Over drinking is not so much a problem as it is an invitation to bring yourself back into balance. But changing any habit, even for the better, is going to take time and energy and focus, which means that you can't expect more of yourself until you start giving more to yourself. And that's what I'm going to help you do in this video. I'm going to give you my 5 science-based strategies that will help you stop yourself from over drinking. They include my delay, don't deny method, mental rehearsal, emotional goal setting, taking an upstream perspective, and checking in with your tomorrow self. I'm going to go over each strategy and then explain exactly how to apply it. And I want to set clear expectations up front. These tools work great when you have the bandwidth to actually use them. So don't expect perfection of yourself because you're not always going to have the bandwidth. But that's actually not the problem. You have to stop overreacting when you make a mistake. You can't be a perfectionist about this. While it's really nice to feel like you did well and maybe it was even easier than you expected, you actually learn the most when you get it wrong. We learn from failure. Done well, every setback is a setup that helps you do better next time. So you got to see this as a process, right? And this is why I call myself the hangover whisperer, because your wins only show you what you're already capable of, where you don't need to do any more work. It's the setbacks, the less than stellar performances that show you where you need to improve. And trust me when I say the single most important improvement that you're going to need to make is how you treat yourself when you make a mistake. None of these strategies will work long term if you're not willing to treat yourself with kindness and compassion when you fall short of the goal. The real habit that you need to break is allowing yourself to get sucked into the shame spirals and the anxiety that prevent you from learning from your mistakes, because that pretty much guarantees that you're going to have the opportunity to repeat the lesson. The bottom line is that over drinking is not about your relationship with alcohol at all. What needs to change is your relationship with yourself. And these 5 strategies are going to help you do that. So the first tool that you can use is called my delay, don't deny method. Now, it is perfectly normal to overdrink when you are around other people who are overdrinking, especially if you've done so in the past. So before you jump into that situation, you have to just give yourself some time to set your own agenda and set your own pace. The delay, don't deny strategy is really very simple. You're just going to skip the first round. When you get home from work or when you arrive at your event, just start with a non-alcoholic beverage. You need to hydrate anyway. Then just take some deep belly breaths and connect with yourself, your environment, and the people around you. Let your nervous system adjust. If you've been running around like a bat out of hell all day long and your brain's been 3 steps ahead of your body, and then you go pour alcohol on that, then you're going to be 3 drinks in before you even feel the buzz. You got to just slow your roll. Remember who you are and what you want. Overdrinking is just a natural manifestation of our hurried, overpaced lifestyle. You have to hurry up and get there, and then hurry up and order your drink, and then hurry up and drink it so you can order another one, and then rinse and repeat until you don't even know where the hell you are. If you want to enjoy yourself in any situation, enjoy other people, enjoy your drink, then you have to be present for that. So the first round is just easiest to skip because it's going to feel good to let yourself decompress. Then, after you've skipped the first round, if you want to go ahead and have a drink, then of course it's fine if you do. But now it's going to be a choice instead of being automatic. You just got to pull your brain off autopilot and take control of yourself. You're not missing anything with that first drink. In fact, the delay, don't deny method allows you to be present and intentional and set a pace for yourself for the evening so that you actually remember what happened. And remembering is actually the second skill, but kind of in reverse. It's called mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal is what we do when we're getting ready to have a big conversation or give a presentation. We imagine ourselves going through the motions. We practice saying our lines. We troubleshoot problems that we think might come up and plan for what we'll do if that happens. And here's the thing. If you can't imagine yourself doing something, you're not actually going to do it. Imagining is more than just thinking. It's feeling. You're practicing and pretending and performing for how you want to show up in your mind. Mental rehearsal is one of your brain's most powerful tools because the brain doesn't know the difference between imagined and reality. This is why dreams feel so real and why we cry during Hallmark movies and why the very idea of something bad happening to someone that we love gets us super freaked out because we're projecting ourselves into a situation and then creating the feeling that we would experience if we went through that. Mental rehearsal actually primes the brain to look for evidence that what we believe is going to happen is actually happening. This is why anxiety is such a bitch. Because the more you imagine that something is going to go wrong, the more you are hypersensitive to any little tiny bit of information that it is going wrong. And then you overreact to benign and neutral situations and basically create yourself a self-fulfilling prophecy. But intentional mental rehearsal can actually activate confirmation bias to work in your favor. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system that filters out incoming data because you can't possibly see and notice everything all at once. Like it would be sensory overload. You're exposed to like 11 billion or maybe million, whatever, 11 something billion bits of information every single second, but your conscious mind can only process about 50 bits of information, which is why your brain has to have a filter so you can see what you're actually looking for. And then your brain's like, I was right. There it is. But then you completely ignore any evidence that you might have been wrong because you're too busy telling yourself a story that this is exactly how I thought it would go. When I have a client who is worried about over drinking at some future event, her homework is to spend 2 to 3 minutes a day, multiple times a day, creating that event in her mind. Imagining herself doing the delay, don't deny strategy. Imagining herself ordering a soda and lime in between drinks. Imagining herself feeling buzzed and thinking, This is really nice. I don't think I need any more. Imagining herself noticing when she's tired, she feels good about the evening and now she's ready to go. Instead of feeling anxious about who else is leaving and just going along to get along when somebody opens another bottle. The more you practice, the better you're going to do. The third strategy is to set an emotional goal for your evening or your event. The biggest mistake you can make is to focus on how much you will or won't be drinking, because your brain's job is to help you get what you want. And if you focus on what you don't want, then you're going to get what you don't want. So if you don't want to overdo it, then you have to shift your focus to what you want to be doing instead. Drinking in moderation is just a natural side effect of feeling good and grounded and relaxed. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And then answer the question honestly. Maybe you want to feel connected to the people around you. Feel like you're having a good time. Feel like you're getting to know people better. Or maybe you're just enjoying watching or relaxing in the peace and quiet. Well, if that's what you want, then your brain will naturally alert you when you cross the line between buzzed and intoxicated. Because being intoxicated doesn't actually feel fun and relaxing or connecting. You have to worry about if you're slurring. You have to try to pay more attention, which means you're not even going to remember much. The bottom line is that if you train your brain to focus on how you want to feel instead of how much you want to drink or not drink, you're going to get so much better results. Now, the next strategy is one of the core skills that I teach in my 1-year group coaching program called The Next Chapter. It's called taking an upstream perspective. Trying to use your willpower to avoid over drinking at the end of the night is like trying to get the last domino in your domino chain from falling. Your brain is just going to say, fuck it, who cares? I'm already over my limit. It doesn't matter anyway. But here's what you need to understand. Your drinking is not the cause of your problems. It's the effect of your problems. You're stressed, overwhelmed, saying yes to shit that you should be saying no to, worrying about all the wrong things, and then trying to use your willpower to stop yourselves from doing the one thing that actually gives you some relief. You got to look at the big picture. Why do you need so much relief? Why are you living a life that you feel like you have to escape? And while this may seem like an overwhelming issue, like you have to go change everything about your life, in truth, you just have to stop for like a minute. Take a deep breath. Give yourself a break in the here and now. Maybe even do that a few times a day. And if you hear that advice and think, I don't even have time to take a breath, then we have found your problem. You need to wake up and realize that there is a maniacal bully controlling your brain and it's hijacked your nervous system. Hurried and worried are feelings, not facts. You do have options, my friends. If you valued your own peace over everything else, you would be walking through your life and showing up much differently. You are actually the maker of your own time. You are the master of your energy. And instead, you're feeling pulled in all these different directions and being distracted and ping-ponged around from notifications and demands and expectations you can actually opt out of. Believe it or not, it actually takes more energy to drag your ass through life tired, drinking a bunch of coffee and energy drinks because you didn't take care of yourself yesterday. Stop doing that. In less than 24 hours, you could turn this whole thing around. You could actually use your willpower to set yourself up for success tomorrow instead of trying to use all your willpower to prevent yourself from trying to grab some relief because you spent all your energy and willpower today cleaning up yesterday's bad decisions. You have all the energy and willpower that you actually need. You're just doing it wrong. So if you want to drink in moderation, you have to ask yourself what actions you need to take that would cause that to just happen. It's not actually hard to drink in a way that gives you pleasure instead of problems. Over drinking is a symptom of an emotional disconnect. Your brain is unplugged from your body. You're out of gas. And you already know that it's so much easier to control yourself when you already feel like you are in control. So what do you need to do in advance so that you actually feel like you have the bandwidth to stay focused and to pay attention to yourself and to what's happening around you, so that you're not tempted to just say, fuck it, because it doesn't matter anyway. Get a good night's sleep. Make sure you've eaten. Make sure you're hydrated. Take a few breaks throughout the day. Just try going to the bathroom and peeing without your phone. It's like amazing, like a little mini vacation. Finish the tasks that you would normally just leave until the next day so you can actually feel accomplished and give yourself full permission to just relax. Deal with the unpleasant shit that's hanging over your head so you don't go into the evening all pissed off or upset or worried, because habits take over when you're in a state of stress. Use your willpower to set yourself up for success before you start drinking. Because when you feel powerful and in control and confident, you drink like somebody who's powerful and in control and confident. Like, it's pretty simple. You're going to drink how you feel. So take the time and energy and use your willpower to make sure that you feel good so that you can enjoy your evening and you're not even tempted to screw over your tomorrow self. And that brings us to the fifth strategy, which is check in with your tomorrow self. So let's say you're having a good evening, everything's going on track, and then it comes time when you should probably cut it off, and you're tempted to just have one more drink because you're having a good time. You're not ready to stop yet, right? And we all know how easy it is when you're already a few drinks in to convince yourself that one more isn't going to make a big difference. And you know what? Maybe it's not. There's no right answer here. Maybe you have time to sleep in tomorrow. Maybe it's just so much fun that it's worth it. Maybe, but let's find out. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the bathroom and you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to check in eye contact with your tomorrow self. You're going to ask her if it's okay with her for you to have one more or more, because she's the one that's going to have to deal with your shit in the morning, which means she should get a vote, don't you think? So go to the bathroom, shut the door, give yourself a break, take a breath while you're in there, and then look yourself straight in the eye and say, hey, my friend, I'm having a good time. Are you having a good time? Is it okay with you if I stay and have one more? You might just be shocked at the answer, enough to pull you out of the fog and make a better decision. This is why it's not about your relationship with alcohol at all. It's about your relationship with yourself. You don't even have a high tolerance for alcohol like you think you do. What you have is a high tolerance for completely ignoring yourself. And looking dead in your own eyes will bring up your truth for you. It may even bring tears to your eyes, pierce you through the heart, in a good way. You need to wake up the connection between your head and your heart, your mind and your body. You can tell yourself it doesn't matter all you want to, but when you look another person, including yourself, dead in the eyes, you know that it does matter, because you're a person too, and you deserve to be treated with the same respect that you would treat any other person on the planet. So stop treating your own body like it's a damn trash can. You don't need to finish all of the wine. You can pour it down the sink. You don't need to drink with other people so they can feel better about their own drinking. You don't need to act like it's really hard to tell yourself no, especially if you've already had plenty. You need to be honest with yourself, because you're in there, she's in there. And if you're nice to her, she's going to be nice to you. So I hope that you find that these strategies are kind of eye-opening and game-changing. To recap, we've got delay, don't deny, emotional goal setting, mental rehearsal, taking an upstream perspective, and checking in with your tomorrow self. I want you to write these down, put them in your phone, and then set an intention to try, use, and practice every single one. And then I want to reiterate, it's so important for you to celebrate the wins, but expect that you're not always going to follow through on your intentions, because you're already in the habit of just giving up because it doesn't matter anyway. But that's just a thought. Now, thoughts are habits too, and those are the habits that you actually need to change. You got to change the way you think long before you change the way you drink. This is a thinking problem, not a drinking problem. And changing your mind is going to be a lot of work. And it's a 2-step forward, 1 step back sort of process. But just remember that every step back, where you'd be tempted to say, oh, I'm going all the way back to square one, it doesn't matter what I do anyway. You're tempted to respond to your mistakes with a give up perfectionist mentality and just say, okay, this is evidence that I'm not capable. But what has to change is that you respond to your mistake as though it's a learning opportunity. You clear the shame, you clear the anxiety, and say, okay, what did I miss? Where did I blow through my own stop signs? Where was I checked out? How can I set myself up for success so that I can improve more next time. The more you pay attention to every little detail through your week, not just the event, but the thought occurred to you to go check in with your tomorrow self, and then you didn't do it. But the thought occurred to you, like that's actually a win. That's proof of progress. And the motivation to continue is for you to show and feed your brain a steady supply of evidence of progress. If it occurred to you to check in with your tomorrow self, that's still a win. That thought, that urge just wasn't strong enough to override the autoresponder in your brain that said, fuck it. It's over anyway. We're already beyond our limit. We'll try again next time. That's the give up mentality. That's the thinking habit that has to change. So you have to be willing to learn from every mistake, seeing it as neutral. It's not a problem. It's just an opportunity. Because when you start learning from your mistakes is when you will actually stop repeating them. And I will just say that if you need more than just a video on YouTube, you've been trying a long time on your own and just feel lost and overwhelmed, then I want you to schedule a discovery call to talk with me or somebody on my team. You don't have to do this alone. And in fact, science shows that the fastest way to change your mind, which is what has to happen, the fastest way to change your mind is to join a tribe of like-minded people who are also working towards the same goals. The problem with dealing with an alcohol problem is most people set the goal to not drink, to get sober. And so if you're trying to drink in moderation and also trying to be okay with some of your mistakes, you're not going to find support in those communities for you to get where you want to go. In my community, our goal is to get happy, not sober, because it's a natural side effect. Happy people don't drink themselves into a stupor. So I have a discrete community for professional women who want to reduce their drinking by about 80%, by setting the goal to get happy, not sober. My clients fundamentally understand that getting sober is just pouring gas on the all or nothing mindset, and they are ready to stop playing games. They are ready to end the obsession. They are ready to take themselves seriously. They fundamentally understand that this isn't about the alcohol. It's a bad habit. It's an unhealthy coping mechanism, and it's just getting the best of them. And quitting alcohol is just a Band-Aid. It's short-term relief. So if you're ready to put this whole thing behind you for real, for good, and you will settle for nothing less than full, complete transformation of yourself, and you're ready to do the work, you just understand that you don't have the bandwidth to figure out how to do the work. You need somebody with a proven system to guide you through the change process, to hold you accountable, to offer you support, to give you some guidance. And you want to work with somebody who thinks outside of the box, who actually has the tools to rip this problem out at the root cause of the issue, then let's talk. There's a link down below where you can apply for a free discovery call. And if you're not ready to do that, just make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please drop me some notes in the comments. Let me know what you think of all of this. Check back in and let me know how they work. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I do have a podcast with over 250 episodes of stuff just like this. So go find it. It's called It's Not About the Alcohol. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you look. It's not about the alcohol.